I'm Richard.
And I'm Will.
And together we're
The Irreverent Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
Nerds.
Will
and I are here once again standing outside of a theater, a different theater this time. We just went to see the Dragon Ball Super movie.
Chala, hey chala.
And this was officially my first experience watching anything Dragon Ball, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. The fight scenes were epic, like some of the best fight scenes I've seen in any movie.
Great,
hands down.
The camera angles were unique to this movie.
Were they?
Yeah.
Was it different than normal Dragon Ball?
Oh yeah. Well, this movie wasn't 2D animation like Dragon Ball usually is. This one was a cel-shaded CGI, which we can talk about later.
Okay. I heard somebody talking about that as I was leaving. They were talking about it being CGI. I thought it looked great, but then I have yet to watch the original Dragon Ball, so I don't know how to compare, but I thought it was pretty awesome.
It was though.
I could see how much the theater was packed. This might be the only weekend it's showing, but so that might be part of the reason. But this is the first night that it's showing, and the theater was packed. Everyone looked to be around our age, probably in their 30s, I think.
And they were all very. This is the most excited nerd room I've been in theater-wise.
Yeah, I think I heard more laughter in this movie than I have. I've never seen a comedy, now that I think about it, in the theater. I usually watch those at home because I'm not going to spend my money to see a comedy on a big screen.
What?
But that being said, and this isn't a comedy, this is an action movie, right? I mean, would you classify it as action? It definitely has humor in it for sure.
Well, the original Dragon Ball was a comedy adventure. It definitely had action in it. Dragon Ball Z was a lot more action. I think the Dragon Ball Super goes back to its roots a little bit with the comedy, so there were some jokes in the movie. Yeah,
I heard more laughter than I have maybe in any movie I've ever been to. You could tell the audience was really into it. They were enjoying it. The nerd sitting next to us turned to me. He assumed that I was a fellow Dragon Ball nerd. So he started talking to me about Dragon Ball Resurrection and a couple other movies.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
And I had to say, I was like, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't say I'm sorry, but I was like, this is actually my first experience seeing Dragon Ball. It's but my friend here has seen all of it. Or most of it.
Most of it.
Yeah. But hey, this has definitely piqued my interest for wanting to go back and see the Dragon Ball Z series. And even maybe the original Dragon Ball anime at some point.
It definitely adds, in my opinion, well-needed context to Dragon Ball Z, but everybody has their favorite series.
So this had a lot of callbacks to Dragon Ball Z itself?
Oh, yeah, and Dragon Ball, to be honest. I was impressed by the number of callbacks, probably because Akira Toriyama said that when he went to write Dragon Ball Super, he actually went back and read all of his manga he had written beforehand. So
nice.
So that's always good. It really helped it stay in continuity.
That's cool. That's cool. By the way, this is our instant reaction review. So later on, we are going to do a deep dive with Zac Williams. He was our guest the last time we talked about Dragon Ball Z. And he and his brother are going to go to see it this weekend as well. And then we're going to get together, at least the three of us, and do a deep dive. But for now, we're just talking about our instant reactions, what we thought of the film. So general reaction, did you enjoy this as much as you've enjoyed the Dragon Ball Super series so far?
Yes and no. It was really good. Spoiler alert.
Yes, spoiler alert. You guys know us. So
I really liked how we got to focus on Piccolo for a bit. As the series has continued, certain characters have decreased in necessity, but with Goku and Vegeta being off-world, I was glad that Piccolo could be in the spotlight for this one for a bit. I found distracting though was, I mean, the camera angles were impressive. I don't mind trying something new. One thing they tried new was the CGI that was cel shaded, and probably that's because it's a theatrical release movie. But I found it distracting, not just because I'm used to 2D animation, but because there was this uncanny valley feeling to it, in my opinion. It was just seemed a little stiff compared to the 2D animation.
Well, now I will have to go back and watch just to compare. It seemed like, as far as CGI goes, like it seemed very fluid to me. Like, but would then be different.
Well, just in comparison. But maybe that's just me. Probably a good time to all of y'all out there to write in the comments how you felt about the CGI if you've seen this movie.
Yeah, like I said, I heard some people reacting to it as we were leaving the theater, talking about how they saw that in the trailer and they were a little disappointed that it was going to be CGI. So is that, even through Dragon Ball Super, like that's been consistent? It's always been hand-drawn animation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's probably computer hand-drawn these days.
Probably, yeah.
But it has been traditionally hand-drawn 2D animation.
Okay. That's cool. Well, that would make sense then why diehard fans would be a little put off by the difference.
Yeah. But I still really enjoyed it. I was really impressed about, and I should have realized they were going to do this, but I was really impressed about the backstory we started with when the movie began, because, like, for you, Richard, we didn't have time, but I wanted to get together and introduce you to just a few select episodes from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z to catch you up with what you needed to know for this film. But fortunately, due to the introduction in this film, you didn't need it.
Yeah, it did a pretty good job of like newbies like myself. Like I didn't feel lost in it. Like I felt like I had a general. Now some of that is because we did the Dragon Ball Z episode, and I already was familiar with some of the characters like Goku and Vegeta and Piccolo. So I knew some of their names, Gohan, etc. So that's part of the reason why I wasn't lost. But they also did a good job at the beginning of like bringing in, and it didn't feel too overly expositional. Like sometimes films will do like an info dump, they'll have like one character do a narration, or they'll just do this random scene where somebody just does an info dump, and that's what they're doing. It's like, even like here, like it's kind of like, it's like, hey, like, yeah, we're doing a recap, but it was an enjoyable recap.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, I guess they just executed it better. But yeah, like, so I didn't feel lost. Like, I enjoyed it. I think only occasionally, like when they started introducing more characters at the end, like some of the other Earth heroes,
right?
Like those, I was like, okay, who's that? Like, I'm not familiar with these characters, but they did a good job of making sure their names were spoken, so like you at least caught that part. And yeah, so it wasn't too much of a distraction.
Great. Yeah, we take that. People like me take that for granted, who have been watching Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, or even reading the manga all these years.
Yeah, well, I noticed a lot of people laughed at what I assumed were inside jokes within the series.
Yeah.
Like, there were moments where I was like, okay, that's a callback to something. It's like it's still somewhat humorous even for someone who hasn't seen all the rest, but I could tell it was obvious that the other people in the room were like, these people have all seen Dragon Ball Z. Like, and I have not. I'm uninitiated. I'm a Dragon Ball Z virgin.
It was quite a few. I loved how Piccolo, this is the first time maybe we've seen, I haven't finished Dragon Ball Super yet, but I think this is the first time we've seen Piccolo's house. And I love he has an alien Namekian house. We've never seen his house before. I didn't know where he lived.
Cool.
So that was interesting. I like that.
Is this his first time having a cell phone as well? Somebody said something about that. I heard, like, behind us. It's like, wait, they have cell phones now?
Yes, they have cell phones since Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, okay.
That's a part of the humor. Macho guy like Piccolo that used to be a villain That's the whole King Piccolo, Demon King Piccolo thing they kept calling back to.
Okay. What was the other thing you were talking about? Kepper?
Kami.
Kami, sorry.
Yeah, that's the Japanese word for God. He used to be God.
Okay, I was going to say, because that used to be an American idiom for communist.
So no.
This is spelled differently.
Well, I used to be a communist. Well, do tell.
I was like, I knew that's not what it was, but it's like I couldn't help thinking of like a communist.
That's hilarious.
Because that was like, that was I don't know if slur is the right word, but it was the idiomatic expression used to talk about communists. But this is what
a slur that all we good Americans use.
Transliterated, would this be like K-A-M-I or something? Or
yes, K-A-M-I.
Kami.
So Kami, Piccolo wasn't a god. Piccolo had the job of God.
Okay.
God is a job title.
So it alternates?
You would have to watch Dragon Ball to really understand, I think. But
the
yes,
original,
he used
the original
to have that
Dragon
job.
Ball. The original Dragon Ball, like back to the... You said is that on Funimation now?
Probably Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll, okay.
No. The original Dragon Ball, that's on Hulu.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
I have Hulu currently.
You have Hulu. You can watch the whole... It's in subtitles, but you can watch the whole original Dragon Ball.
Now that's something I want to comment on. Like the English dubbing was excellent. Like it matched the mouth movements, and it was well acted, and it kept the humor.
Yeah.
Like it didn't go flat. Like so I thought they did a really good job with the English dubbing. Has that been consistent throughout the Dragon Ball Z as well? They just did a really good job with that, or
probably.
Now, did you? Of course, you tended to watch the Japanese with subtitles, right? Like
only when I have to.
Okay.
Well, I will say this: when Dragon Ball Z came out in the '90s, there was a lot of censorship and editing to the original Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, because they say the word "damn" and stuff like that.
Well, eventually they did start cussing in the English Dragon Ball Z, maybe around the Android or Cell sagas or something. But and that's when they started allowing blood to be left in without being censored out. But if you notice, there wasn't any blood that I remember anyway in this movie tonight, and that's because Dragon Ball Super was
only a little bit. There's a little bit
purposely toned down from Dragon Ball Z.
It's pretty much just like nosebleeds. Like when Piccolo was getting beat up by Cell, he had a nosebleed.
You're right,
but not much more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, not much. Although
I did say, now here's something interesting. Piccolo can regrow his arms.
Yes, it's because he's an alien, and he can do that.
He's like an alien salamander.
Basically, he's a lizard man. Okay,
lizard man. Lizard man. No, it's like, I was like, oh shit! He just cut his arm or blew his arm off, and then it grew back later. I was
I was wondering what was going on through your mind when that happened.
Yeah, because I didn't know he could grow his arms back. But then later, he also turn into like Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, he can do that. Yeah, that would have been really weird.
It's like, oh, that's random. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you were lost.
No, it's okay. That made it more fun, actually. Like, that was my first time seeing it, so like I didn't know to expect it. So I was like, oh, okay.
And
fantastic. Here we go.
And that's one of his normal attacks, but him growing in size, he hasn't done that except once during the finale arc of Dragon Ball. So that's one of those things that was left on the cutting room floor, and I just found it great to keep some continuity and to go back to that for this one film where he grows big.
Yeah, I like the humor they put in there too. He's like, oh, I forgot I did that.
Exactly, and that's the kind of thing as a cartoonist, that's the kind of thing I would do. I, the cartoonist, forgot the character could do this. The easiest way to fix it is say the character forgot. I've literally done that. I had this comic strip where I had Milo climb a mountain and I forgot that he could fly. But yeah, that's great. And that was hilarious in this film.
We can't expect too much of ourselves as lowly human writers.
Yeah.
As I say. Well, cool. Well, we're coming up to 15 minutes, so we're going to keep this short. We're going to save a lot of our other thoughts for the deep dive when we do that with Mr. Zac Williams.
Awesome.
Our returning guest. So, hey guys, this one's going to drop, I think I'm going to drop this one as a bonus episode on the night of, but then we're going to release the deep dive with Mr. Williams come this next Wednesday. And by the way, those of you that haven't already caught on, we are now doing episodes bi-weekly instead of weekly. Part of that's just my busy schedule, trying to make life a little easier for myself, like lowering the workload, as they say. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. So it's going to be bi-weekly episodes now instead of weekly. We may occasionally drop a bonus one like this when we do an instant review. But yeah, so every other week we'll have a new full episode out for you guys. So, but keep an eye out for the deep dive coming next Wednesday. Peace, nerds.
Sayonara.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Irreverent Nerds podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at irreverent_nerds, plural. We are on Facebook. Our fan page is simply called The Irreverent Nerds. We're on YouTube, The Irreverent Nerd. And if you go to anchor.fm/irreverent nerd, you can support us for 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. You can also send us a voice message, which we may include in a future episode. Fellow nerds, until next time, make it so. Engage. Avengers assemble. I'm Batman.